have a 3-bedroom apartment in Tokyo, Japan that I pay less than $500 a month for, so let's answer some of your questions. But first of all, let me introduce myself. Hi, my name is Coco. I am a 31-year-old and I've been living in Tokyo, Japan for almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years this August, 2025. I asked you guys over on Instagram to give me some questions so I could make a Q&A. So let's get started. So my first question, did you have to pay a crazy deposit? No. I believe I only paid $200 to $300 for my deposit. Basically, I told my landlord, I was like, hey, listen, this is the deal. I'm new in Japan. I don't have a whole lot of money, but I am ready to move in literally right now today. So I only have a couple $100s for a deposit. Are you willing to take it? If not, then unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stay with you. Luckily for me, my landlord is a fellow foreigner and he is very understanding and accommodating. And he was like, yeah, just give me whatever you have. So I only paid I paid my deposit and then my first month's rent, and that was it. So I got very lucky. Next question. How did you make the move to Japan? Like step by step from cost and getting paperwork to live there. I have a completely remote job and my own business. I would love to make this happen one day. I would have to make a whole separate video on moving to Japan step by step, how I did it, because when I moved during COVID. So my moving process is going to be different than now because, you know, COVID has thankfully gotten so much better. So I'll make a whole separate video if you guys want me to on how I moved to Japan and step by step, all the paperwork and interviews and countless things. So I'll make that video. As far as like a remote job, a lot of people believe that they can come to Japan and work remote and that it's easy because they have a remote job, but it's really not. Legally, you're not supposed to work in Japan and make money unless you have a visa. And you can get a digital nomad visa. They just announced that. I believe it was last year, 2024, 2023, one of those. But the visa requirements are a little, I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. But look into it if you're interested in living in Japan. I think you can live for up to 6 months with the digital nomad visa, but you have to meet like some pretty strict requirements. And then as far as owning a business, you have to have a business manager visa, which is also very costly and time consuming. And I don't think it's worth it, but that's just my opinion. Next question. How long does it take by train bus to get from your apartment to the city center, inner part of Tokyo? I want to answer this question, but I don't want to, it's like I want to answer it, but I don't, because I feel like if I do answer it, it'll give people an idea of where I could possibly live. And I'm just so I'm so strict about my safety and I just don't want people to know or have any idea where I live in Tokyo. So I'm not going to answer that question. I will be moving in August. So as soon as I move in August, I'll be sharing all the tea and the details about where I live because I won't live there anymore. But for now, I want to keep that on the down low. Next question. Where did you find this pet-friendly 3-bedroom? This 3-bedroom in Tokyo for under $500. Craigslist. You need to look on Craigslist. Craigslist is slept on in Japan. Now, obviously back in the States, Craigslist has a very shady, dangerous, violent reputation. But I've used Craigslist for a lot of things, including obviously finding my first apartment in Japan. So that's the secret. Look on Craigslist. You'll find a lot of good, some hidden gems. If anyone might know, how is Japan with disability support resources? Looking to leave the UK, and Japan is the only country that's captured my attention. Just curious if it's a good option for me and my family. I don't know too much about that, unfortunately. I don't have any disabilities, but I do know that one of my friends, she was from New Zealand. She doesn't live in Japan anymore, but when she lived in Japan, she got this booklet. It was like a disability coupon booklet. And she was like, yeah, we can go to museums, theme parks, restaurants, cultural activities and experiences. And I can use my disability book to get like a discount. So there's that. And then as far as like resources, to be honest, I don't really know a lot. I think I would really love to interview someone who has a disability in Japan. Maybe I could interview my friend. or someone who's in a wheelchair. If you guys are interested in that kind of content, definitely let me know. How do I become a permanent resident or become a citizen? I want to move over there. There is a PR, permanent resident visa, that you can get in Japan as a foreigner. For most people, you have to be in Japan for at least 10 years. And you have to have like a squeaky clean record. They don't want you to have any like arrests. You have to have all of your bills paid, your residence tax, your pension, your health insurance, nothing late, nothing delinquent or anything like that. You have to have a very squeaky clean record if you're gonna apply for that. I do know that there's different requirements for like the highly skilled visa. If you have one of those, which is very hard to get, then you can get PR quicker. As far as like being a citizen, I know that I don't know what it's like for other countries. I know for the United States, or maybe it's Japan, like in general. I think it's Japan overall, you can't have dual citizenship. So for example, if I wanted to become a Japanese citizen, I couldn't be an American citizen and a Japanese citizen. I would have to completely denounce my American citizenship. So I would not be American anymore. I would have to completely get rid of that to become a Japanese citizen, which I am not willing to do. Some people have done it. I personally wouldn't recommend it, but that's just me. So yeah, there are ways that you can become a permanent resident here. I would suggest doing that over trying to be a Japanese citizen. How did apartment hunting go for you? Are there any resources that made the process easier for you? Honestly, apartment hunting was really easy. Like I said, I just went on Craigslist, looked around, and I found it pretty quickly. I moved in the same day that I went to go see the apartment. So obviously not everyone's experience is going to be like that. I got really lucky in that regard, but as far as resources, definitely, I always tell people, Google will be your best friend. You can literally go on Google and type in apartments in Tokyo. You could say apartments in Tokyo for less than $500. Like, definitely utilize Google because it works in Japan. I think there's other websites that you could use for finding apartments. I have not used them yet because I haven't started my apartment hunting, but best believe probably in like June, definitely I'm going to make a complete series about moving in Japan, the websites. I might get a realtor because I do know a couple people that have suggested some realtors. So yeah, I've also been thinking about interviewing a realtor and getting their take on certain things like do's and don'ts of apartment hunting, what to look for, what you need in an apartment and all that kind of stuff. So let me know if you guys would be interested in that. What did you do to bring the car, or did you get it in Japan? I actually don't drive. I do miss driving, and I'm thinking about going to driving school this year, maybe. But no, I don't need a car. Most people in Japan, well, at least in Tokyo, don't drive because the public transportation is really good. So yeah, I didn't have a car. I didn't bring a car. But I do know some people like import and ship their cars. It's just really expensive. Is it further out neighborhood that has made it more affordable? How much was the landlord gift? So I can say that this, like my apartment is not in central Tokyo. So that's why it definitely costs less. If you live somewhere like Shinjuku, best believe you're gonna pay a pretty penny for those apartments. And they're gonna be like the size of a shoebox. So yeah, I personally just don't want to live in central Tokyo anyway. It's too much. I travel there all the time, and I think I could never live in this kind of place because there's just too much going on. It's too loud, it's dirty, it's busy, it's crowded. I'm good in my little neck of the woods. And how much was the landlord gift? I'm assuming this person is talking about key money. So key money is where it's like gift money. You're giving your landlord money to thank them for letting you stay in their apartment. I did not pay key money when I moved in. I will never pay key money. I'm sorry. We are damn near in a recession. I am not finna give you a month's worth, 2 months worth of rent to thank you for letting me stay in your apartment. Your thanks is me giving you rent every month. As an American, possibly getting my TESOL, how easy is it to move and make friends? I'm learning the language, of course, but in America, it's very hard for 20-somethings to get connected. What do you recommend to get started forming a community? I don't have any Japanese friends. which is kind of crazy to say out loud. I have like Japanese acquaintances, but as far as like friendships, deep friendships, I have not been able to make any kind of deep connections or make long-lasting friends with Japanese people. I've tried. And you know what? Honestly, I don't know. It's just, and I've talked about this with other foreigners as well. Some of my foreign friends, we've vented on how it's hard to connect with these people. Some of them can come across kind of cold. They don't want to have deep conversations. Things are kind of surface level. And for me, if I'm going to call you my friend, I want to talk about more than just cute stuff or the weather or, you know, food. Like I want to talk about deep personal things, not necessarily trauma bonding. I just mean talking about deep stuff. And I feel like a lot of the times with Japanese people, they don't want to do that just because that's a part of their culture. They're not American mindset, Western mindset where it's okay to open up and vent about things. They keep things inside, and that's not me. I'm very emotional. I'm very sensitive. I like to talk about what's going on in my personal life with my friends, and I just haven't been able to make those kind of connections with Japanese people. But for my foreign friends, I would definitely say if you're trying to make, I mean, honestly, friends with anybody, Japanese people, foreigners, definitely utilize social media. That is how I've met most, if not all of my friends. My one good friend I did meet at work, which is another place you can make friends. Utilize social media to make friends, hang out with some coworkers. There are groups like, I know it's meetup.com or something like that. You can check that out. I know they have a lot of events there to like network and, you know, make connections, dating, speed dating, friendships. So yeah, check those out. Yes, YouTube video, please. I'm curious. Did you need to pay any movers to help with moving in, especially with big furniture? If yes, how much did it cost? My very first piece of furniture was a refrigerator. And it's kind of crazy. I might make a YouTube video about this because I just be getting myself into the weirdest situations. But I actually met this guy off Tinder and I asked him to help me move into my apartment, and he did. And he had this like one of those little box truck cars in Japan. And he helped me go and pick up this refrigerator, which look on Facebook if you're looking for free stuff. I think it's called Motanai. I'll put the name so you guys can see, but look on those Facebook groups. A lot of people are giving away good free stuff. So I got my refrigerator, which is like, it's not a typical small Japanese refrigerator. It's like a big American size one that has a big freezer and a big refrigerator. And someone was giving it away. I told Tinder guy, I was like, hey, I need help moving in. I need to go get this refrigerator. Can you help me? He was like, yeah. So no, I didn't pay any movers. I just got Tinder guy to help me move it for free. And then all my other furniture, I just get it delivered from Amazon, and then I just set it up myself. Oh my God, why is it so affordable? It's affordable because A, it's not central Tokyo. B, I don't know if it's because my landlord is a foreigner or not. I'm not really sure if that might have something to do with it. And C, because this building is older. I don't know exactly when it was built. I didn't ask, but it's not like a new building, honestly. I can't wait to move so I can show you guys everything. The outside of my apartment looks hella ghetto. It looks like the trenches. I ain't gonna lie. When I pulled up and I saw the outside, I was like, ooh, this is looking a little ratchet. But I went inside, I saw my apartment. I was like, okay, so the outside looks like shit, but the inside looks cool. So yeah. Next question. Where did you get your kitty? You mean this kitty right here? She's not happy because she was sleeping on the bed, but I actually got her from a website. I'll put the website somewhere up here so you guys can see it, but I got her from a breeder because she's a ragdoll. So she was hella expensive, but I've been wanting this breed of ragdoll for a long time. You okay? Are you mad because I woke you up? Yeah, she's not. Her name is Suki, by the way, and she's almost a year old and she's freaking huge. I didn't know that ragdolls get that big, but she's not even a year old. And let me just, I can't even pick her up. Look how, all right, I'm gonna let you go back to sleep, okay? How much in Japanese yen? You gonna go to sleep? How much in Japanese yen? So my apartment is 680,000, no. Girl, it's not that much. 68. I still have a hard time with Japanese yen, even though it's been 4 years. I still get mixed up, but it's 68,000 yen. I converted it earlier. It's like 429 US dollars. So yeah, wait, how did you do that? Plus they allowed you to have a pet. I'm in the countryside and I still can't have a pet. My landlord is extremely, as I mentioned, he's a foreigner. He's this like old white British dude, and he's been in Japan for a long time. And every time I talk to him, you can just see that he's over it. He really does not want to be in Japan anymore. Every time he's like, I want to go back to England. I want to go back home. So I think he's kind of over it. And I think he's just, because he's a foreigner, he's a lot more lenient. There's several people in my complex that have small dogs, cats, all kinds of animals, pets. So I just got lucky. But for my next apartment, finding somewhere that's foreigner friendly and pet friendly might be a little more difficult. Where is it exactly and pet is allowed? Crying face, orange heart. Obviously, as I mentioned, I do not feel comfortable sharing exactly where I live. I know these people mean well, but it's just like, I would never ask someone where exactly they live as a stranger on the internet. I'm not mad or anything, but it's just like, I don't want to share that kind of information because people are crazy. Obviously, if I didn't have to worry about my safety, I would tell you guys, but you know, stalking is a big thing all over the world, but it's especially bad in Japan, and there's nothing they're going to be able to do about it. If someone finds out where you live and they're crazy, you're kind of screwed. So yeah, I'm not going to share where I live, but when I move, I most definitely will give all those details. I thought Tokyo was super expensive. Nice to see a spacious place for a good price. Yes, YouTube, please. I can't speak for anyone else. I can only speak for myself. I don't think Tokyo is expensive. I don't. I've lived in expensive places. I've lived in Florida, expensive. I've lived in California, extremely expensive. So for me personally, because I don't have any debt, I don't have any outstanding bills, I only have to take care of me and my cat. And I know how to do discounted shopping because my mom is a discounted shopping type of gal. She taught me well. I know how to live affordably in Japan. Obviously, sometimes I splurge. I spend quite a bit of money, you know, retail therapy, single black female addicted to retail. That's me. But I don't think Tokyo is expensive. If you're getting paid in yen, things might be not as affordable. I still don't think it's going to be expensive, but you know, the yen is very, very weak. I am lucky that I do sometimes get jobs that pay in USD, and USD goes a long way in Japan, but overall, after living in Tokyo for 4 years, I don't think it's expensive to live here. Is this in a neighborhood where other foreigners live? Yes. When I first moved here, I was so sure that I would be the only foreigner for miles and miles and miles. Like, I was not expecting to see other foreigners in my neighborhood, but there are plenty. There's black people, there's white people, there's Latinos. So I was very shocked to see that, but you know, it makes me happy to realize that I'm not gonna be the only foreign face around. So it was a nice surprise. That Tokyo work culture though. Yeah, I know. Working in a Japanese company is not for me. I learned that very early on. I don't know. It's like, it's what you make of it, but also some jobs are just really shitty. But then again, there are shitty jobs all over the world. I do think that Japanese people get it the worst. I've seen it at my last job. I saw how hard the Japanese staff was working versus the foreign staff. I think foreigners get it a little easier, but that's just me. And then someone replied, definitely better if you're exchanging from USD. $1 gives you about 140 to 150 yen. Now, well, back in 2010, I believe it was like $1 gave you 95 yen or so. Yes, that's true. When I first came to Japan back in 2016? Yeah, 2016 for my first vacation here. It was like $1 was equivalent to 100 yen. That's how you would do the conversion. It was like, oh, take off the 2 zeros, $1 equals $1 in yen. And that's how I kind of converted it. And it was very easy for me that way. But now it's like, the yen is so bad. I think it was last year or it was last year. The yen reached like an all-time low that it's been in like 30 something years. If you're paying in USD, you're getting a very hefty discount. People in NYC pay that for parking. You know what's really funny is I almost was gonna move to New York. When I first moved to Japan, I really did not expect to be here this long. I was only gonna be here for like 7 months until the end of my first contract, English teaching contract. So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do after this? I don't wanna go back to America, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Let's go to New York because I already lived in California. So I was like, let's live in New York. And then I looked at those New York prices. New York is just stupidly, unreasonably, inhumanely expensive for just, it makes no sense for it to be that expensive and that dangerous. I've seen the news articles, I've seen the TikToks about, you know, the attacks, people throwing acid on strangers. Like, I'm too soft. I'm too soft for that. I am way too sensitive and dainty for that kind of life. I don't want to be living in the hood, in the ghetto, in the trenches. I'm not trying to do that. So I will not be living in New York. I found out that Japan has big bugs, especially spiders. I know this isn't a usual apartment living in Japan question, but do you come across this problem? If so, how do you handle it? I'm terrified of bugs. This question is literally me. It is unbelievable how scared I am of bugs. Luckily, I have not had any huge spiders in my apartment. Yes, the rumors are true. Japan does get huntsman, dinner plate, hand-sized spiders. I've never seen that. I don't know what I would do or how I would react if I ever saw a spider like that in my home. I would probably burn the whole fucking place down. Or I would get Suki to try and kill it for me. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't had any problems with big ass spiders. I have had spiders in my apartment. They were tiny. I did get one of those little, what is it? Bug repellent spider killer spray things. And it has the long nozzle because I would be afraid to get close to the spider. So the long nozzle really helps because it like sprays long and you can kind of stand far back. Yeah, I'm a pussy when it comes to spiders, but honestly, spiders are my really big fear. I don't have a problem with roaches, even though I think they're fucking disgusting. I don't have a big problem with roaches. Ants, gnats, not really a big deal. The spiders kill me though, but I haven't had any problems with them. I know that if you live in a more foresty area and you have like a house where you have like a first floor and stuff like that, you're probably gonna have to deal with them. I know my neighbors downstairs, like, that's why I would never live on the first floor. Even like Japanese people have told me don't live on the first floor, obviously because of like peeping toms and weirdos and stuff like that, but also because of the bugs. So yeah, you do have to be careful. If you live in the city, I don't think it's gonna be a huge problem because there's not a lot of like plants, forestry, grass and all that stuff. But if you do live like countryside, oh, you're gonna definitely have to deal with like some big monster sized spiders. How many square meters is that? Seems like a great price for the space. My apartment is 46 square meters, so it is huge. A lot of space. Do I really need all this space? Probably not, but I'm extra like that. I need the space. I'm used to American size type of places, so yeah, I need the space. Why is it so cheap? Is it true that all is abandoned? I'm assuming this person is like referring to a lot of abandoned properties in Japan. Japan does have a lot of abandoned places. Unfortunately, the population is dying out. People are getting older and dying, and the younger generation, younger people are not having enough kids. So it's a little scary to think about, but no, my place is not abandoned, or like certain prefectures are more abandoned than others. Like, I don't think there's a whole lot of abandoned properties in Tokyo because Tokyo is very metropolitan. It's the biggest prefecture in all of Japan, but places like maybe like Hiroshima, I went to Fukushima and there was a lot of abandoned places there. So certain places in Japan have more abandoned houses and stuff than others. How many square feet is that? How much do utilities cost? What are your pros and cons of this apartment? As I mentioned, my apartment is 46 square meters. My utilities vary. I have the AC on right now in only one of my rooms. I have 2 AC units. I only keep one of them running though because they can get really hot and it can be kind of uncomfortable. So I keep one running all day, every day, 24/7 because it's cold as hell. As you can see, I'm like bundled up. My utility that I just paid yesterday was 11,000 yen, which is like I don't know, like $100 or something. It's kind of high, but it's because I keep the AC on all day, especially for her. If I didn't have a cat, I could get away with not having the AC on. I would just layer up, but I have a cat, so I don't want to get her cold or sick or whatever. But yeah, my utilities are pretty decent. My water bill I pay every 2 months, and that is like, it's like around 4,500 to 5,000 yen. So like $50, not that expensive. Oh, and the pros and cons of my apartment. Pros is I get a lot of sunlight. I barely use the lights in my house. I feel like if I used lights in my house, my electricity bill would be higher. Another pro is the location. I am conveniently located within a couple minutes walk from a bank, ATM, bus stop, convenience store, department store, and grocery store. I would say the cons are my apartment gets moldy quickly, like things mold very quickly in my apartment, which is why I have to get certain things to help with the moisture absorption so that my stuff doesn't get moldy and ruined. My apartment is right by a road, so I hear a lot of noise. Construction. They've literally been building something right beside my apartment for years and it still has not been finished, so I hear all of that fucking shit every morning. Kids running and playing. I hear cars and mopeds, motorcycles going up and down the street. Luckily right now it's very quiet. People are at work and stuff like that. At night it's not too bad. I would say after like 10 p.m. the noise dies out, so it's not too mendokusai, bothersome, worrisome, but yeah, those are the cons. 3-bedroom means 3K, or is it 1 LDK? Holy cow, either way, that is cheap. I rented a room mansion for that price near Shibuya and it wasn't as big or as clean as yours. So if you guys didn't know, Japan classifies apartments by number and by letters. So for example, this person said 3K. So 3 means 3 rooms and K means kitchen. 1 LDK, 1 stands for 1 room, L stands for living room, D stands for dining room, K stands for kitchen. Honestly, this was so long ago, I don't remember what exactly was in the listing. I don't know what this apartment is classified as. I don't know if it's, I guess it could be considered a 3K because I do have 3 rooms and a kitchen, or it could be a 1 LDK, 1 room, a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen. But that's just kind of the setup. I have 3 rooms, I have a kitchen, I have a toilet room, and then I have a little place like a vanity area, and then I have my shower room. So the 1K is actually kind of the option that I was given when I first moved here, and I looked into that, and I mean, honestly, like, if you live a minimalist life, a 1K is fine. For me, it's just way too small. As you can see, I like a lot of space because I like to buy a lot of things. That's just my problem that I have, but a 1K is literally a kitchen and 1 long room. I'll try to put pictures so you guys can see what I'm talking about, but it's very, very small. It's just too small for me. I need space. I need a lot of space, especially now that I have a cat. I just wouldn't feel comfortable with her in a 1-room apartment. That's just too small. So anyway, for my next apartment, I will either be getting a room or an apartment as big as mine, that's at least 46 square meters, or bigger, but I'm definitely not downgrading or downsizing. Like, I need the space. Next question, how did you go about getting a cat? I'm wanting to adopt a cat here in Tokyo, but it's challenging. As I mentioned before, I did get her from a website from some breeders, and it was actually pretty easy. I just went to the cattery, I talked to them, I had to sign a bunch of paperwork. They gave me a bunch of paperwork stating that she is full-blood ragdoll, purebred. She has no diseases. Her parents have no diseases. Her father like won a bunch of cat awards and is like very highly regarded in the cat world or whatever. I don't know, but I know that people say adopt, don't shop, but I work hard for my money and I wanted to get a certain kind of cat, so I got her. If you guys want me to make a whole video about that, because I know there are certain people that are interested in getting like breeds that are purebred and maybe more costly. Obviously, if you're okay with it, definitely go for the adoption. I think I'm going to get another cat and I will be, well, I don't know. I don't want to say 100% I will be, but I will try to see if there's a cat breed that I want through adoption rather than paying all that money for her because she was expensive. But I do know that for adopting in Japan as a foreigner, it's difficult. I've had friends tell me that they were denied adopting animals because they were foreigners, which I personally think is a little ridiculous, because why not give any animal a loving home? Why do they have to be a Japanese person? I don't understand that. But yeah, those are some of the things you got to worry about in Japan. There are no discrimination laws in Japan. So if they don't want to rent an apartment to you because you're a foreigner, they can do that. There's nothing you can do about it. If they don't want to let you adopt an animal because you're a foreigner, they can do that. There's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. What was the whole process to get the apartment? But it looks so cute. Honestly, the process was easy. I met up with my landlord. We talked through email. I just was like, hey, I need to move in literally today because my quarantine was up. I had to find somewhere to move. I met up with the landlord. We talked. He got my vibe. I got his vibe. He was like, you know, what can you provide? Because I told him I don't really have that much money. A couple $100 deposit and the rent. I can give that to you now because I need to move in. Are you okay with that? He was like, yes. He already had the paperwork that I needed to sign, the contract. It was for 2 years. So I signed a 2-year contract, and I've been in this apartment for 4 years. So I think most apartments in Japan, the contracts are 2 years, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So I signed the paperwork, gave him the money, and that was it. And I moved in. And my electricity and water and gas and all that stuff was turned on, I believe the same day or the next day. So it was very quick. Didn't have any issues with that. So yeah, the whole moving process in Japan was very easy for me for my first apartment. Obviously, other people's experiences are going to be different. I don't think it's going to be that easy for my next apartment, but we'll see. You have a cat? Tell us about your cat friend, please. Everybody is so interested in Suki. She's very popular, apparently. But yeah, I think I'll probably make a whole video about her because you guys are really interested in her. So, what agency helped you with the process? Then someone else commented, my question too, were you able to rent without an agency or a Japanese cosigner? Honestly, I don't know if you have to have a cosigner, a Japanese cosigner. None of my friends, at least, have had to have a Japanese cosigner. They've either had to pay like hefty deposits and all that stuff, but I haven't heard about anyone needing to do or to have a Japanese cosigner. As far as agencies, I don't know any of them. The only agency I had was Craigslist. So, but again, I will be making a full video giving all the details and information for when I move into my next apartment in Japan. So stay tuned for that. Last question. Hi, do you happen to know the best websites for furnished year lease rentals for foreigners? I don't know any other than Leo Palace. Leo Palace, I would honestly use that as the very last resort. They don't have the best reputation, but they are furnished. I know that for a fact. I'm not sure if they offer like year leases or short-term leases. Like I said earlier, most leases in Japan are like 2 years. So I would look into Leo Palace. They might have short-term or year lease options. And then I would say for my next piece of advice, try Airbnb. If you're looking for like a 3-month, 4-month, year-long place to stay, I would definitely check out Airbnb. You might be able to message some of the landlords, some of the apartment owners, and let them know like, hey, I need to stay here for a year. Are there any options for me? They might be able to work something out. Okay, guys, that was the last question. I hope all of these answers that I gave were helpful. I will try to list some websites that I know of in the description box. Make sure you check out my Instagram and my TikTok. I will be trying to do more Q&A videos. If you guys have any other questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll try to do these maybe monthly just to help you guys out. If there's any other videos you guys want to see, I've been trying to vlog. I've been trying to get better at making long form content because I really enjoy it. Editing, I don't enjoy it as much, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!